The one question I have with this team is what's happened to their defense? If they continue to play like this, you have to ask yourself, will they make a deep run in the playoffs? Will they make the finals? Let's talk about it. With all the wing players the Clippers have, Kawhi, PG, Rocco, all them, they got a lot of guys who are very lengthy and a lot of guys who can really, lock down and play some defense when they decide to, which is the reason why I've been so surprised that since the All-Star break, especially, the Clippers have been giving up big numbers to teams where it's like, this is unreal for a Clippers team to do, especially with Kawhi and PG on there. And, as I said, giving up 175 points, to the Kings was just unheard of. I don't think Malik Monk is that good. I think he's pretty decent. I do think De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis is, I think they like that. But other than them two, I don't really think nobody else on that team can, put up points like that on a nightly basis and play to that high of a level. So, shout out to them for what they have going and everything. But that the Clippers giving up 175 points is just unreal. 176 points is unreal because you got too many wing players. You got too much defense, and you're a team that's supposed to be predicated on defense. And, since Russell Westbrook came, it just seems like their defenses went like to the bottom, and it seems like it's not going to resurface no time soon because, they're playing good on offense, but it's like they go through these lulls in the game where they allow the other team, the opposing team, to really just impose their will on them, offensively. You look at this last game with the Memphis Grizzlies. Tyus Jones basically comes in, of course, Ja wasn't playing because of the situation, but he comes in and along with three other guys, because they have a lot of people hurt on their roster, a lot of their starters, he comes in and he drops like 20 points in the third quarter alone. He just got to the rim whenever he wanted to. Easy pick and roll. It was no resistance to the rim. He was wide open for a lot of his threes that he, and then once he got going and caught fire, the Clippers were in trouble. They were down 14. They were down 15 points. And all of a sudden, it was a crazy momentum swing because the Clippers were up, by 11. And now all of a sudden they're down 14. That's a crazy swing in a game like that quickly, especially when you have, all your guys there, Kawhi, PG, along with Russ, and they don't have none of their starters in there. And, they're, even though the Grizzlies, they do play very well with their backups and everything, they're just very well structured team. But still, the Clippers, that would have been a really embarrassing loss if the Clippers fell to their face and didn't come through, which they did, because I'm, definitely glad they did. Shout out Paul George. Shout out Kawhi for having that crazy fourth quarter, which I helped think really, sealed the deal for them more than anything. But, all in all, my point is this, this team has to play a lot better defensively. It's just what it comes down to. You can't give up these big numbers to these teams. These last several games, they've given up at least somewhere around 127 points a game, like on average, up until that win, so it's like when you look at that, like, damn, like the Clippers have really regressed on the defensive end. And that's really hard to fathom when you look at Kawhi Leonard, PG, Marcus Morris, Rocco, Nicholas Batum could still defend a little bit, and even Mason Plumlee, he could defend pretty decent, along with Zubac when he decides to. But my point is they're just predicated on guys who can defend, and guys that are very lengthy and, cause turnovers rather easily when they're all engaged and locked in defensively. But you haven't been seeing that with the Clippers, and I'm just wondering where it's went. point, it's almost as if, since Russ has came there, it's a little bit of a sideshow now. Like, it's all, they're doing a lot more. It's a lot more talking around the Clippers rather than, the Clippers rather than what the Clippers are used to. Because with Russ there, he's going to bring more media and all that type of stuff. See, I think the Clippers, of course, they're, in my mind, they're more used to it being, quiet. They're the underdogs and they just come with nobody watching, you know what I'm saying? And that's their mentality, you know what I'm saying? Keep sleeping on us. But with Russ there, he brings a lot of attention to the Clippers that they usually aren't used to, I believe. And I just feel like it just kind of changes the energy with the Clippers. I could be wrong, but I don't know. But my ultimate take is I just feel like, when they had Terrence Mann in the starting lineup, their defense was definitely a lot better with him because Terrence Mann could rotate. He's another lengthy type defender. I like Terrence Mann on ball defense. I like Terrence Mann when he's trailing, on defense. However, he moves a lot. He doesn't stay still. He's always active and he'll go up and get, crash the boards, get an offensive rebound. I mean, we've seen him do a lot, and his energy, I feel like, affects the Clippers in such a good way. It almost like, it's almost like they have a point guard, even though he's not a point guard, he's more of a shooting guard, but he played the point guard role. I feel like Terrence Mann, kind of made the Clippers, the other guys in the starting lineup feel like we got a guy that's solid. He going to play defense. He going to lock somebody up. He going to get some steals and he going to help us defensively so we don't have to rotate as much and, expend too much energy because Terrence Mann has a lot of energy himself. He'll find himself in situations where he can get steals and cause turnovers and get us a fast break going on the other end. And that's what he was doing. And that's why I feel like, their defense has really suffered a lot because, with Russ in the lineup, Russ doesn't give you that defensive mentality because he's all about, individually scoring and, getting his stats and things like that. And you got to be so careful playing with Russ. It's like you really can't get a rhythm with him. And the psyche of that is very, very tough. So I feel like the Clippers are going to have I feel like the Clippers are going to get some more wins. I feel like they are, of course. But I just think that, it's going to be tough wins. None of them is going to come where it's like the Clippers are going to win by 10. I think every game the Clippers, win here on out is probably going to be 10 points or less victories. It's not going to be like they're going to win any games probably over 10 points. I think all their games are going to come down to be close because defensively, they really don't have that backbone there, in that point guard position. And I'm not saying that Russ needs to be a defensive player or anything, but Russ is such a liability on both ends of the floor because, backdoor cuts, he misses assignments sometime on defense. And then on top of that, he goes on the other end and makes a crazy wild pass that nobody can understand why he did it, and a crazy turnover. Nobody understands why he does that at times, but that's just the way Russ is. So it's like the psyche of the Clippers are just a little bit off to me because, like I said, regardless, they always played better defense than what they're playing now. And they played their 14 games before the All-Star break. I think they went 10-4 in their 14 games for the All-Star break. So, I mean, when you think about that, the way they were playing with Terrence Mann in the lineup defensively and the way their offense was starting to flow a little bit better because I feel like the guys in the starting lineup start trusting Terrence Mann more. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Kawhi Leonard started trusting Terrence Mann. PG, trust Terrence Mann. I feel like that trust was kind of like, starting to click with them. So I feel like they should have just kind of kept it the way they did. But, of course, now they got Russ and they got to try to figure out a way to work around his ways and still, get high production so they could be the team that everybody think that they should be, or at least a lot of people out there think they should be, the favorite to win the championship. But either way, my point is this, they have to find a way to neutralize teams a lot better, especially in the second half. I mean, their second halves since the All-Star break, I mean, they're giving up big numbers, 38, 44 points. And then the 51 they gave up to the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant. I mean, the Clippers can't allow stuff like that to happen. Now, luckily for the Clippers, they let the Grizzlies only score 17 points the fourth quarter, which allowed the Clippers to come back and win that game ultimately. Their defense was really the staple. I mean, I know Kawhi and PG played great numbers-wise, but the defense, how they played collectively as a team, was really what helped them win that that game, and they're gonna have to do a lot more of that if they plan on winning collectively on defense and allow their offense just to flow. And then when it comes to dire situations, go to Kawhi Leonard and let him put the game away. That's the way the Clippers are gonna have to play, and that's how they're gonna have to think, and that's the only way it's gonna work. Like Paul George is gonna have to be consistent as possible as well. Because they definitely gonna need him, especially in the playoffs, of course. But they're definitely going to need something from, Russ if they're going to keep him in the starting lineup. I personally think, they should come off the bench with Russ in the second unit to let him kind of make mistakes there. But if they keep him in the starting lineup, Russ is going to have to be productive, and he's going to have to play a lot better. And, I don't know if that's going to happen for the Clippers, but they definitely ought to think about, reinserting Terrence Mann back in that starting lineup, because I felt like his energy and his everything, his presence on the floor as a young player, and who I think the guys trust, I feel like that goes a long way, and I feel like that could take them even further when they get in the playoffs.